Ladies and gentlemen, we finally have some more information on the upcoming Silent Hill F game, which was announced way back in October 2022, so they have been very silent, and after the very successful release of the Silent Hill 2 remake, obviously fans can't wait to get their hands on more Silent Hill action. This is going to be a brand new entry. I've gathered all the information I can on this game so we can get all excited together. All of us survival horror fans or psychological horror fans, because Silent Hill does lean more in that direction. But anyway, I've gathered all the information. I want to talk about why I'm excited for this. I want to give you all the information that is currently available. So sit back, relax, get comfortable, and let's get excited over an upcoming game. While a lot of YouTubers, and myself included, do normally cover the more serious subjects and, get gaming back for gamers and this and that, and, escapism over activism, as I always like to say, it's freaking awesome when I can just be excited about something. This is one of those moments. So, Silent Hill F. No actual gameplay has been showed so far. A brand new trailer has come out and that will be playing in the background. I went and then I watched a 45-minute interview with a lot of the developers who are working on Silent Hill F, so they gave me a very strong impression as to which direction they want to take the series, as to their intention. Are they gamers that are looking forward to making a game? Did they give me the feeling that, this isn't going to be anything special? Let's go over it. So firstly, the number one reason why you should be excited is the writer, is the script writer, is the guy who's coming up with the story itself. So there is a separate horror visual novel series that is available on the internet. You may have heard of it, and if you're a fan, you're about to get very excited to hear this mentioned in a Silent Hill video. Higurashi When They Cry. I love those books. They are a horror visual novel series that is available online. There are many entries. I'm currently going through all of them as we speak. I'm actually quite a fan. I love this work. The writer who made this series, who is very, very, very talented in making you comfortable and then squeezing that comfort right out of you with pure horror and shock. He is very good at what it does. Well, Konami reached out to him, and guess what? Turns out that not only is he going to be the writer for Silent Hill F, so in other words, the story is going to be freaking brilliant, but not only that, the guy is a fan. Do you have any idea how much that changes things? He is pure talent, and he is a fan of Silent Hill, so he's going to give this his best shot. He's one of the most qualified people, and another further announcement, this is going to be the first Silent Hill game that is outside of Silent Hill. This brand new entry is actually going to challenge what we think we know of Silent Hill, while still simultaneously maintaining and keeping everything that makes a Silent Hill game, except it's not going to be in that American town that it's been portrayed all these years. It's going to be in Japan. Now, the writer of Higurashi When They Cry, he is from Japan, he speaks Japanese, his horror visual novel series, Higurashi When They Cry, is all set in Japan. So again, very, very suited for this role. But let's move away from the story for just a moment. Let's move away from my extreme excitement that they got a very good person writing for the actual story. Let's go over some of the facts, right? So as I said, it's set in Japan. It is going to be coming out to the PlayStation 5, both of the Xboxes. It is coming to Steam and the Epic Game Store, and it is once again an Unreal Engine game. I say once again because the Silent Hill 2 remake was made using the Unreal Engine. That game looked gorgeous, so I'm going to assume that no one is going to be upset that once again they are using that powerful video game engine. The same producer who worked on the Silent Hill 2 remake, he's once again in charge, as well as the composer, which you're all familiar with, Akira Yamaoka, who's been part of the Silent Hill series since the original entry. And he's not going to be doing all of the music within the game. He's going to be in charge of the fog world parts. He was very specific about that. He doesn't get to control every single sound that comes out in this game, but the fog world part, the fog world part, he's definitely there. Now this is going to be an independent story. So in other words, anyone can enjoy this, not just long-term fans. However, there will be plenty of Easter eggs for long-term fans. Speaking of long-time fans, you're going to be very happy about this because in today's gaming age, in the gaming industry in 2025, it is no understatement to suggest that fans are really ignored and disrespected these days. That's why there's so much boycotting and so forth. There's a lot of video game series that come out, doesn't respect the original IP, doesn't respect the fans and this and that. However, surprisingly, with Silent Hill F, one of the things that every single developer, whether they were the producer, whether they were the writer, whether they were the composer, whether they were the other guy, all of them had a very strong, humble fixation, and I think this is very important, a very strong and humble fixation on what the long-time fans think. Your names, our title, long-time fans, came up again and again and again. They weren't saying we're going in a new direction, we're gonna broaden our horizons, which they are, but they continuously back that up with, I wonder how fans are gonna take this. I wonder if long-time fans will understand what we're trying to do. I hope long-time fans are okay with the fact that it's not going to be in the one location of the Silent Hill that they're used to. We're hoping that long-time fans are understanding of this. You are on the back of their mind. You are right there in their thoughts. And that's fantastic. You don't hear that anymore. Most games that come out, when you hear the developers talk and all that, normally there is this sincere lack of respect towards long-time fans. Now I'm going to be real. I'm actually not a big Silent Hill 2 fan. I have mad respect for Silent Hill because it was the psychological horror. Everyone knows what Silent Hill is. It has done its part. I don't need to be a super fan myself to know how important the series is, what it's done for the video game industry as a whole. I was the Resident Evil fanboy. I love that sort of survival horror. So the original Resident Evil games with the fixed camera angle, that is my jam. Although of course I do enjoy the more recent Resident Evils, and I'm a massive fan of The Evil Within. As far as I'm concerned, that's the best modern survival horror game we have ever gotten. All of that being said, I'm very excited for this Silent Hill entry. I still haven't had a chance to play the Silent Hill 2 remake. I plan to. It's just more a matter of, I think all gamers can relate to this. I have too many games installed. I have too many games. The Steam sale happened. I bought more games, so it's a backlog thing. I'm just going to play it when I have the mental capacity to actually go through it, because I don't want any distractions. When I play a survival horror game or a psychological horror game or any of the in-betweens, I like to be fixated. I like to focus. I don't want to be playing too many other games at once. So we'll get round to playing that. The Silent Hill 2 remake looks fantastic. I'm already a big fanboy of the writer for Silent Hill F, so I know he's going to do great work. And I love their fixation on caring about what fans think, especially with their bold new take in it being set in Japan. The writer and the whole team, I'm not going to give credit to one individual, but the whole team takes it very seriously, their responsibility of what they're doing with this game. They really analyzed the previous Silent Hill games to truly understand the fundamentals of what parts of the previous Silent Hill games are non-negotiable, are things that absolutely have to be in the game, while at the same time they don't want to do a carbon copy of the other Silent Hill games where you know everything that's going to happen in advance. They still want to surprise you. And trust me, this writer, he knows how to surprise. So this game is set in a rural town of Japan in the 1960s. You play as a teenage girl. The twist here, as we've already covered, is the fact that we're in a different location than the normal Silent Hill. And the thing is, she hasn't entered into another town that she's unfamiliar with, and then the smoke is there and this and that. This is her home. This is where she lives. This is where her memories are. This is where her friends and family and everything else are. And yet she wakes up one day, there's this preceding, all-engulfing fog that just covers everything. And suddenly, what was once familiar is now very unfamiliar. So that's an interesting concept, that Silent Hill itself can move, and I look very forward to see how the team manages to portray that. I think that does open a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities. I am a nostalgic old fart, so I understand the want and need for certain games to not change. Not all changes are good, not every single evolution is great. I understand that. I'm not going to be one of those people who, just because a change is happening, we have to assume it's for the better. I think that's actually a little bit ignorant. It could turn out to be for the best, or it could be about the same, or it could be worse. Truth is, we won't know until we play this game. We won't know if this feels like a Silent Hill game at all, or if it will just feel like a separate horror psychological universe. It's absolutely possible, but I love Japan as a setting. I think Japanese horror is the scariest stuff you can find. So I like the idea of it being there. I want to give them that benefit of the doubt. And some other things which the developers did say, and I roughly quoted it, is basically fans can look forward to many unsolved mysteries after their first playthrough of the game. Now I like that. The wording there is very good. Unsolved mysteries after their first playthrough. So things aren't going to be handed to you on a silver platter. They're not going to explain things up front. They're going to keep you Silent Hill, and even once you've completed the game, there's still going to be unsolved mysteries. You're still going to think about it. You're still going to talk about it on online forums. Do they still do that these days? You're going to talk about it online with your friends. You're going to try and make sense of it. And it says their first playthrough of the game. So maybe they have implemented systems that entice you, that encourage you to go ahead and play it a second or third time. We used to call that replay value. Replay value used to be so important in games that games would be marked down if they didn't have it. I remember we had separate categories. We had a category for sound, for gameplay, for graphics, and for replay value. And replay value was a big deal. It was really frowned upon, even if you had a great first run. If after you beat it, you never ever had a reason to return to play a game. That was always disappointing back in the day. And it also worked the other way around, where even if a game wasn't super great, but it was enjoyable enough, but there was a ton of replay value, then that would actually push the score up. So nice to know that fans can look forward to many unsolved mysteries after their first playthrough. I think that's great. A release date, unfortunately, hasn't been announced, by the way. I'm sorry, we don't have a release date. Another bit of nice taste information is there is, and I quote, "Never seen before, new elements will exist." Good, there's going to be new stuff here. They're going to do what they can. Let's have a look at a screenshot. Now, this isn't necessarily in-game, or maybe it is and I can't tell, but I have to be honest, if the game looks anything like this, they have confirmed that you will be playing as this female character. They've confirmed it, you'll be playing as her. And when you look at these Unreal Engine 5 graphics, it looks great. It looks so moody and this and that, and what you're looking at, that's just a still frame of compressed footage and now just a PNG. So as soon as you start zooming in, obviously quality goes down, but even just these rocks, the strong shadows, this funky looking creature, it's going to be a good time. I think it's going to be a good time. At the very least, they'll have the mood down. Now, looking at the screen, I can confirm that before you, this is actually locations from the game itself. So this isn't just a background. This isn't a random Japanese spooky picture I got off the internet. This is the Silent Hill. This is the Silent Hill. And you can see there's just a lot of detail, a lot of the details, even the dirt, everything. This will be a very high production AAA sort of game. I'm assuming, again, we haven't seen the actual game running. We've seen the trailer. Maybe the trailer uses the in-game engine and everything you see represents the final quality. That's cool. But we haven't seen actual gameplay. The way the developers were talking about it though, the fact that they announced this back in October 2022, we're in 2025, they've told us ahead of time that they're going to have more of these Silent Hill transmissions. That's what they called this. That's what the 45-minute video I watched was about. It is the 15th of March as I record this. They announced in October. October is the land of spooky. I bet you they're going to launch this game in October. I think they are actually further along in development than we realize because they've already been working on it for a number of years now. Maybe even longer compared to when they actually originally announced it. Well, of course, they've been working on it for a good chunk of time. I think they're going to tease us between now and then. the way the people working on the game talked gave me the impression that the game is mostly done. I think they're just fine-tuning it, making sure they build up enough hype, enough anticipation, and of course launching a game like this in October, which in America is Halloween, and that impacts people's desires to want these spooky sort of experiences. I think that's when it's going to happen. Now I zoomed in on this one, and this just looks terrifying. Whatever is happening here with this woman, I don't know if she's obviously a monster, she's obviously twisted. She reminds me of like a dummy. Like, are these just things in the skin? I don't know. I don't know, but she's approaching at that really weird angle. You can see the hair coming down here, and this looks upsettingly disturbing, as it should though. You have this picture right here. That looks terrifying. That looks terrifying. Her legs are gone. They've been replaced with those sticks and just unnatural poses. A big theme, which they have confirmed, so this isn't a theory, is finding beauty in horror, and they're hoping to express that through these sort of red Japanese flowers, which is associated with Japanese horror, apparently. But there's a big focus in there where there is beauty in horror, and one of the descriptions they gave, which I found quite interesting, was that apparently if something is perfect, or if something is too perfect, apparently that's off-putting. So that's an interesting interpretation. I don't know what they mean with beauty in horror, but do I trust Japanese developers to know exactly what they're talking about with making spooky, delightful worlds? Absolutely. Even their old movies and their old cinema spook me out to this day. They know what they're doing. This will be quite the experience. Having the Higurashi When They Cry writer, who is a fan of Silent Hill, writing this, we have every reason to be excited. I'm holding back ever so slightly just because there's plenty of times when a game has great premise and great people working behind it and everything lines up, and then you finally see the gameplay footage and you know within seconds, oh dear, this is not good. Now, I don't anticipate that will happen here. I see no reason for us to see the gameplay running on the Unreal Engine, especially after the success of Silent Hill 2 Remake. I see no reason why gameplay would have the opposite effect, of exciting us and instead deter us, but I always hold back before seeing gameplay. And frankly, if I didn't personally know the skill set of the writer behind this, I would be less excited as well, because trailers do nothing for me. Trailers do nothing. I'm either seeing the video game play or nothing at all. That's what did it for me with Silent Hill 2 Remake. I was actually one of the first people to defend the Silent Hill 2 Remake, because a lot of people were worried it wasn't looking so good, they weren't confident in Blooper Team and so forth. But after they released large segments online of unedited gameplay where you can just see the character walk around, where you could hear the sounds, the footsteps, the music, everything, I watched that and I knew, okay, this looks good. I was one of the first ones to back that up while people were still rage baiting about it. So the moment I have the excuse to do the same for this, absolutely. It's always more fun to be positive than negative. But trailer's a trailer. Let's wait and see. They will give us any teasers before now and then. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, because I will absolutely cover that, because I love survival horror. And yes, this is more psychological, but you know what? You get a metal crowbar or a steel pipe, you're going to be whacking things. That's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. If I can walk around a gorgeous environment where it's spooky, I'm uncomfortable, and I have a low amount of ammunition, I have just enough to survive, I'm going to enjoy that experience. I am going to enjoy that experience. Anyways, with that being said, God bless you all, take care. Thanks for hanging out with me. Let me know down below, are you excited for Silent Hill F? Let's get excited together. If we learn reasons later on to not get excited, cool, we can do that. But for now, the team working on it is very excited, and that for me is one of the most important things with any games. If the people working on it sound like fans, that means they're going to give it the best shot possible. That means they are going to respect the IP as much as possible. And I truly don't believe They are changing the setting for no reason. And that being said, that was also Konami's decision. Konami contacted the writer of Higurashi When They Cry. They contacted him, brought him in, and they told him, hey, we want to put this in Japan. So he didn't come in and then force his will on there and say, yeah, Silent Hill is normally in America, but I'm here now, I'm the big cheese. We're going to move this to Japan. It's like, no. They said, hey, we want to put this in Japan. We've seen your work. We want you to do this. And I think he's going to respect it as much as possible. Fingers crossed very soon we get some gameplay so I can analyze that footage, because that's always fun. Anyways, God bless you all. Bye-bye.